We Saved You a Seat is sponsored by the Oklahoma Family Network. Oklahoma Family Network focuses on supporting families of children and youth with special health care needs and disabilities, as well as families who have children with a mental health or behavioral health diagnosis. Oklahoma Family Network provides families with emotional support, resource navigation, parent-to-parent engagement opportunities, and wants to ensure quality health care for all children and families by building strong and effective family-professional partnerships. As we celebrate and honor the day set aside to bring awareness to our incredible families with a rare diagnosis, I want to thank Sky Collins for sharing about Oklahoma Rare in our previous podcast release. Today, I want to thank Presley Collins for giving her mom permission to share pieces of her diagnostic journey. I feel confident others hearing and knowing Presley's experiences will help them on their own advocacy and diagnostic journey. Thank you again, Presley, for allowing us to meet you and know you through some of your mom's stories today. And Sky, thank you again for sharing your family with us.
Sure. So I am the mom of three daughters, three amazing daughters, and I have an amazing grandson. Our youngest daughter, who was born in 2012, uh, she about 8.5 years after she was born. And if you're doing the math, that's a long diagnostic journey. 8.5 years later, she would be diagnosed with Milan syndrome. And Milan syndrome is an ultra-rare genetic neurodevelopmental disorder that affects multiple body systems. So it causes overgrowth, intellectual disability, vision and hearing issues, as well as other issues. She's about one of 320 in the world diagnosed with Milan syndrome. Then that's currently, there are likely others out there that are waiting or are on their diagnostic journey. We had signs when she was about 3 weeks old and endless specialist visits over the years, misdiagnoses, and mostly just waiting for answers. So it was really a lonely journey for us. I remember thinking to myself, I don't know, remember when maybe about 5 years, she was probably about five, that there was no one in the world that could understand what she was going through and what our family was going through. It seemed like there was no one going through what we were going through. So we were really lonely. And without that diagnosis, we really lacked access to community, to medical care. So our daughter should have been seeing cardiology when she was born, and she didn't see a cardiologist till she was 9. We were lacking therapies and just really, most importantly, a community of families that were on the same journey as us.
So are you able to receive most of your services here in Oklahoma, or do you guys travel a lot for healthcare?
At this point, we do less traveling than we used to. So there were times we've had to travel. Oklahoma's lack of specialists does affect us. We Milan syndrome comes with a really high risk of epilepsy, and Oklahoma doesn't have a pediatric epileptologist. I don't think Oklahoma has any epileptologists, as a matter of fact. So the lack of specialists is really a challenge. The wait times to see specialists to get procedures are really a challenge. Our daughter needs a sleep study, and we're currently waiting, and I think the wait will end up being over a year when she gets to get it done in August. So we have had some challenges there. I really think her diagnostic journey was affected by that. So we were seeing initially seeing a pediatric developmental specialist. Most insurance companies stopped covering that specialist. I think she was about 2 at the time, and we couldn't afford to pay to go, so we stopped seeing that specialist. We just saw a general pediatrician who was amazing, but I will tell you, there was not one person who mentioned genetic testing to us until our daughter was almost 6 years old. So she had, by 3, been diagnosed with intellectual disability. We had a number of other kind of sub-diagnoses by that time, and there was no cause. There was no clear cause as to why, and there was no one who mentioned genetic testing. I had been helping a friend. I volunteered to serve on the board of another rare disease nonprofit, and she was the one, and that was in 2015. So our daughter was 3. So a couple of years later, she was actually the one who said, have you thought about genetic testing? And we had never been told about it. We had never talked about it. We brought it up to our pediatrician, and she was like, well, we can try. It's kind of expensive. So that started a journey. We started doing one-off genetic tests where you are testing for something specific. So you see these symptoms and you think, maybe it could be this. We did about 10 of those. And we relocated. We were in the Tulsa, Owasso area at that time. We relocated back to Oklahoma City in 2018 and got a great doctor reference from a friend at Bethany Children's. And we were on a wait list for a while. So we got in, and the care was different. It was a different level of care. And immediately, her new pediatrician said, let's think about, whole exome testing, because I think something genetic's happening. I don't know what it is. And you may never have answers, because we had really given up on getting answers at that point. We thought she has the services. We think she has the supports and services that she needs. So if we don't find answers, we're still going to get her the supports that she needs. And so we had given up on it. And lo and behold, it took about a year to get the approval, to get the testing done. We get the call that they had found something. So we were really shocked. And that it was, a rare disease was shocking to us, because we were really already kind of invested in the rare community at that point. And I was in a great place to find resources. So I knew who to call. I knew I had friends I could call. I had connections. So I think about other families who get that diagnosis. It's, kind of an unheard of. You don't get a lot of information. They kind of hand you a genetic report and say, this is what you have, find your community. But there's not always a community. So I was really well connected, but I do think about those families who, once you get that diagnosis, what do you do from there? Who do you call? So that is also a lot of the reason that, kind of creating a connected space and community was important to me, a place where people could go if they had questions or wanted some guidance on who to check with.
Are y'all a 501c3 organization?
We are not. That's a conversation that we have. It's important for me to be kind of community owned and it not be the Sky Show or a three people show. So we've kind of talked about what the next chapter looks like. I'm not really sure what that looks like. It probably does eventually look like it may head in that space, but we really want to keep the intention and the organic connection intact. So how figuring out how to do that is kind of our next step. It is really important to me to eventually partner and connect with schools and help schools provide supports for students who have complex medical needs. We've found a big gap in that area. And it is another space of, I really honored to have served on the Putnam City Board of Education. And I am a pretty well-connected person in the district. I know who to call if I have a question. I know who to call if, I have an issue. So I think about other families who don't know who to reach out to when they have those questions or concerns. I really think about families who, where English is not their first language. How are they connecting to the resources and to the people that they need to in the school district? So that's something that I really would like to expand on. Alabama's doing a great job. There is a rare disease organization, the EWE Foundation. They are connected with Alabama Public Schools, and they're doing some amazing work in this space. And I would love to kind of go in that direction eventually.
So you guys didn't have a NICU stay, or did you have a NICU stay at that point?
No, we didn't have a NICU stay. Our daughter, we always laugh because I think I think I would have been about 36 and was considered geriatric. And, my husband and I still kind of laugh about that. So I had a few complications during pregnancy, but nothing concerning. And when she was born, really, that was kind of our first sign. We had all these signs over the year that over the years when we look back, we're like, oh, those add up and they make a complete picture. But at the time, they weren't uh, they didn't make any sense. So she failed her first hearing test, which we now know was just a cognitive processing delay. It took her a little time when she would hear the sound to respond to the sound. And that was really our first sign, but she passed another hearing test. I think they gave her one the next day and they said, well, she did pass, so everything is fine. So there really was not a huge indication that she would need any genetic testing. And at about 3 weeks old, she was in her swing and began to choke. She stopped breathing. Were rushed to the hospital, and that there was no answers for that at the time, which we now know was low muscle tone. So like there were all of those little signs along the way that we had no genetic testing until I think she was about 6. She had her first single panel.
Did you guys participate in like Sooner Start, understanding that there were, oh, so maybe some developmental delays that were occurring?
So we did participate with Sooner Start, and I cannot say enough good things about our experiences with Sooner Start. It was an amazing experience. So she was about, I would say, 6 months old. She stopped babbling. At 9 months old, she still wasn't responding to things like peekaboo. And so that was our first time the pediatrician said, I think she may have a developmental delay, but we're not sure. So, then we begin to see the pediatric developmental specialist who said the famous words, don't worry, she'll catch up. So uh, I think it was about 2.5 when we had already been connected with Sooner Start. She was receiving therapies between 2.5 and 3. Right before she started public school, she was diagnosed with an intellectual disability.
That's like, okay, we had all these specialists involved in our life, and we still did not get anything really like, come on, answers until 8.5. So
Yeah, we did not know the questions to ask, and no one was really, giving us any answers or guidance on those questions to ask. We it was really our first experience. So I am the daughter of a mother with disabilities. And I had spent a lot of my life really organically advocating. We had d- we had two older daughters at the time, one who also had disabilities. Um, so just getting those single diagnoses seemed appropriate at the time. We were like, okay, this is what it is. We kind of take it. And then when they kind of started to, add to the pile of diagnoses, because she really has a lot of diagnoses, we are often shocked that no one said, maybe something's going on, maybe something is happening here. And no one really led us to that point.
you've talked a little bit about her diagnoses and all of those things about her, but I want you to tell me about Presley. Tell me, you mentioned she loves Taylor Swift. I want you to tell me all the things that she loves, her favorite topics in middle school, all of that.
Presley keeps us on our toes. She is full of energy, full of life. She is so funny. She has the best sense of humor and she's really kind. She's also really sassy, which her older sister really loves and encourages. She loves Taylor Swift. She has a best friend. His name is Dom. He lives in New Jersey, and Dom also has Malone syndrome, and they video chat almost every single day. And Dom will be in our house. I'll be walking through the living room and I'll hear a voice, and there's like an iPad screen over in the floor. And Dom's like, hey, what's everybody doing? He's just another member of our family. Uh, she she's a good friend. She loves her friends. They're really important to her. and she really loves school. We've been so lucky with school staff and teachers. She has had two amazing teachers that I cannot say enough about that really changed, kind of the trajectory of her life. They really had an impact on her. And her current teacher and her second and third grade teacher, they they love her in a way that is so special to me as a mom. I wish they made $1 million a year. We certainly don't pay them enough. And she loves school. She loves the connection. She's very, very social and loves to be with her friends, loves to be with people. She loves to be out in the world doing things. So we often laugh about, we're really sorry you got the old parents, kid, because we're tired. No, we don't feel like going to the mall or going places, but she loves to go, go, go. And maybe she keeps us young. I don't know. I'm not sure, but it really adds so much light to our family. And we often say, our oldest daughter is the most generous giving of us all. She's a pediatric nurse at OU now, and she is our giver. And our middle daughter was really the empath and really cared about others in such a way. And Presley is just our light giver. She gives light wherever she goes. She brings the party.
I often hear people say that Oklahoma is a pro-birth community, but we don't do a lot to, continue that pro-life aspect. And so I think that you being a voice and an advocate for the rare community is just powerful.
I think we kind of live in this way where our family, we really like to leave the world better than we found it, and every space better. And for Presley, we want to leave her with community. Knowing that she has the Milan Syndrome Foundation, knowing that, hopefully Oklahoma Rare will grow and be a community for her. She can't wait to move out and have an apartment and work. And, that changes every day what she wants to do, just like the rest of us at 12. But we hope that this will continue to be her community and other Oklahomans' community where they have a space to be together. I don't feel like I do anything spectacular. I feel like I just use my voice, and I hope that others will also, use their voices and the gifts that they have and continue to amplify whatever's important to them, whatever is important to the people around them. So, it doesn't really feel like anything special. It just feels like using our gifts to make a difference in our little piece of the world.
I want to close our time together with Sky's final words from her previous podcast as a reminder and encouragement to us all.
Would tell families is to keep pushing for answers, seek out community, and just know that you're not alone. And what I would tell healthcare providers is let's work together to make genetic testing more accessible and connect families to resources earlier. And what I would tell policymakers is I would just really urge them to support research, funding, and policies that help the rare disease families thrive.
Thank you for listening to this episode of We Saved You a Seat. Oklahoma Family Network promotes family-centered care and provides tools so families can make informed decisions, advocate for improved services, build connections among families, and serve as a trusted resource in health care of children and young adults. If you would like to become a supporting family or get in touch with another family, please contact Oklahoma Family Network at oklahomafamilynetwork.org or by calling 405-271-5072.